Hello, I'm Fast Lawyer. Today we are going to review Shadow Point VR, an Oculus Store exclusive released on May 21st, 2019 by developer CodeSync Software. It's available for the Oculus Quest and the Oculus Rift. It is cross-buy. It normally retails for $20. I bought it on a Oculus Store sale on December 25th, 2019 Christmas. It was 25% off, and yes, I just got around to playing this game. Shadow Point VR is a narrative-driven puzzle game, but the focus definitely is on the puzzles. However, it is fully voiced, and it famously features Sir Patrick Stewart, aka famously known as Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise, Star Trek The Next Generation. But the whole cast did a marvelous job, and this game definitely has top-notch production values. Despite all that though, like I said, this is definitely a puzzle game first, and mostly you're just walking from puzzle to puzzle. The puzzles start off very easy, and I show that in my video, but they do get progressively more difficult, and there are some optional puzzles that are quite the mind benders. At first, you're simply rotating the object to have it match the shadow, but then you're having to pull levers or combine items or move through time and space to get a different orientation. So these puzzles do test your spatial abilities, or you can try to brute force them through trial and error. I will say that in my opinion, these puzzles are casual level difficulty, except for maybe some of the optional puzzles that do require some real thought. In between the stages of puzzles, you will get narration, and there are some cutscenes as well that move the story along. I did enjoy the story and the voice acting. The story here is better than most VR games. However, it's not what I would call a great story, just a good enough story that does motivate you to complete the puzzles until the very end. The whole game took me about 7 hours to complete. I think that's pretty average for this game. However, I could see people finishing this game a lot faster than I did. I will say that I did get stuck on 2 different puzzles for 2 very different reasons, and I like to explain what those reasons are because I think it does illustrate this game in a nutshell almost. So the first time I got stuck was simply because I thought I had the right answer for a puzzle, and it looked like the right answer, but it just wasn't, because I had to hang a piece of the puzzle somewhere different than where I had it. Although from my perspective, the puzzle piece looked exactly like the shadow, and it was very close. And part of the problem with this game is that the puzzles don't always get recognized. Several times I had the solution, but the game just wouldn't take the answer, and I thought that was happening in this instance, but it just happened to be that I didn't put it in exactly the right place, which was a mechanic the game hadn't shown before that point. The other time I got stuck was completely my fault. The puzzle solution was a lot simpler than what I was thinking, and for this game I will say that a lot of the times the puzzles were just a lot easier than what I was making them to be. Once I realized it, I started solving the puzzles much faster. So I would say during the second half of the game, I was really breezing along. I really only got stuck during the middle of the game, where I was making the game a lot more difficult than what it really was. The game did automatically save after each puzzle solution, which I really liked. Shadow Point VR is running on the Unity engine. On my RTX 3080, I was getting a steady 90 frames per second. I did not experience any serious issues or bugs. You do have full locomotion and smooth turning options, as well as teleportation and snap turning, as well as comfort options. You can play standing or seated. There are no graphical options in the settings, and obviously this game is an Oculus Quest port for the Oculus Rift, so you can tell there's low resolution textures, there's low polygon assets, but at the end of the day, the art style really saves this game and does make it look really good, even though it's an Oculus Quest port on PCVR. So I really don't have a problem with the visuals. It's an enjoyable art style and it ran well. I think that's really all that matters. However, I do have some criticisms of this game. My biggest one, and I mentioned this earlier, was the puzzle solution. Sometimes you had the right puzzle solution and it just wouldn't take because you had to stand in exactly the right spot and you had to have the object in exactly the right location, and it just required too much much precision, especially when it was so finicky. I would have my avatar hands constantly move without any movement from me physically. And my only other criticism of this game is that I do think the puzzles overall were maybe a bit too easy, and that's surprising because I could easily see these puzzles being a lot more difficult, but often the case was that the solution was the easiest solution, was a solution where you had to go the least amount of distance to solve. So it definitely seemed to me to be a developer decision to make these puzzles as easy as possible, as accessible as possible, and probably geared towards more casual gamers, which obviously can be perfect if you're new to VR, or if you're a casual gamer, or you're new to the puzzle genre. But for puzzle veterans, they might find this game off-putting just because there isn't enough of a challenge. In any event, I do recommend this game. I think you are getting great value with this game. There are high production values, and the puzzles are perfect, again, for casual gamers or for those new to the puzzle genre. And if I have to score Shadow Point VR, I would give it a 7 out of 10, or if I'm using the Oculus Store star system, I would give it 4 out of 5 stars. Anyways, I'm Fast Lawyer. If you enjoyed my review, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of the video.
Halt! You stand before Lorna, sovereign queen of all Illyria. And you? Wait. Come over here. Alex! Oh, ignore this. I'm the queen. Surprise! I figured since no one else was around. Where did you go? I looked for days. I'm sorry about last time for, screaming in your face. Forget it. You hungry? I'll get some fruit. Don't leave again, okay? Stay right there. This is amazing! You could be the royal vizier.